Hey honey, I met a stranger online. I'm gonna pay them tons of money to help me learn about drugs. I want to talk about marriage for a second. And not actually like that, not about like microdosing and marriage or about me and Cordy's marriage, which actually could be a good topic for a future episode. But, and actually, I'm going to write that down. But no, I'm talking about basically how to go about this whole healing thing when you're in a relationship. If you haven't already, now's a good time to go ahead and hit subscribe, or if you're on Apple or Spotify, go ahead and leave like a little 5-star rating. It helps us, helps somebody else find this who needs to hear it, and it costs you nothing. So go ahead and do that. Now, let's talk about this. The reason I wanted to bring this up today and film this here video about this is because literally in the last, I don't want to exaggerate, I was going to say in the last week, in the last like 10 or 11 days, we've had 4 people signing up for our program, all of whom I have not only spoken to them, sometimes for like 2 hours before they even signed up, but I also spoke to their spouse, or again, don't want to exaggerate, I'm planning a meeting with their spouse. The reason for this is, I mean, for one thing, like obviously it's natural that somebody should talk to their spouse before making a huge investment or decision. Like, I would also have some questions if Cordy came to me out of the blue and was like, hey, honey, I met a stranger online. I'm going to pay them tons of money to help me learn about drugs. Probably don't go about that conversation that way if you have had a talk with me and you're interested in joining our program. There's definitely better ways to broach that subject. But seriously, for one thing, like I wouldn't expect Cordy to make any major purchase or investment or just any major decision without at least giving me a heads up of everything that's involved and who these people are that she's getting involved with. So just like it's natural that somebody should talk to their spouse before joining a program like this. And again, if Cordy came to me and said she was interested in some coaching program or something like that, I would at least do my due diligence to make sure it's legit, it's not some sort of pyramid scheme or some sort of scam, that she's not joining a cult or something like that, which, side note, I think that we should start a cult. Cordy's not on board with that yet, but, you know, if we got some fucking robes, I think that would be kind of sick. Another topic for another day. But besides all that, I actually really like to talk to somebody's spouse before they go and join the program for a few reasons. I'll explain. For one thing, the spouse needs to be on board with somebody's healing journey. They don't necessarily need to have be fully bought in and drank the Kool-Aid and be doing plant medicine themselves, but at the very least, they have to be supportive of this. Like, how are you supposed to get better if your partner is not also interested in you getting better? It's just not going to work. You guys live in the same house. Everything that affects you, everything that you're doing is going to affect that person. And if they're dragging you down, like, you know, the crabs in the bucket kind of analogy, this isn't really ever going to work. And in fact, we saw this happen with one guy who, maybe I actually learned a lesson from this one. This dude was an Army veteran, and he and his wife were pretty religious, her perhaps a little bit more conservatively so than him. And he came into our program without really telling his wife what exactly he was doing. Now, she was on board with him getting help, because their marriage was struggling. He wasn't he wasn't the best dad that he could be, etc. He had all these problems. That's why he signed up with us. But he never really told her what this was about. And she found that he had mushrooms in his house because he was actually getting into growing his own mushrooms. And she found this, and she was not happy about it. And in fact, it kind of led to him withdrawing from our program and not really staying in touch with us too much over the past couple of years since this happened. And I don't really know how that guy's doing now. He definitely had some breakthroughs in the span of our program. I think primarily just from sharing some of the things that he'd went through. He'd seen and done some not great things while at war that really weighed on him. So I think having our community being able to share that stuff was positive, but I guess the But the point I'm trying to make here is that this dude's wife was not on board with the methods that he was using to go about it, and that actively sabotaged their marriage even further, caused more marriage problems when this dude's here trying to heal these marriage problems. So this cannot work if your spouse is not at least aware of what you are doing and generally vaguely supportive at the very least, if not like fully on board with the program. So that's one thing. And that's, again, for me, kind of lesson learned there of like, I want more spousal support, if you will, before somebody signs up for a program so that I don't have that happen again. And then beyond that, like for me, I actually like getting to talk to somebody's husband or wife before they join, or like when they're in the process of joining, because sometimes they have really valid points to take into account that the person who's actually joining, maybe they're not aware of, or maybe they can't articulate very well. So we've got one dude in our program. You actually have seen a video about him. This is the dude whose wife was like, oh, I finally found my husband again after he'd been microdosing for just a couple weeks. She was present, not the very first time that he and I talked, but then when he like signed up for the program, I talked to him and her for about an hour. And she shared a bunch of things about him that he didn't bring up himself, whether that's because he wasn't aware of them or he just forgot because like, hey, he's got a brain injury and PTSD, so like brain fog is a real thing. So having this the spouse or the partner there, almost like if you went to the doctor and you bring your partner just to kind of help you make sense of everything and remember things that you can't remember, like similar kind of vibe as that. And then again, this dude's a great example. One of the reasons he joined the program was to become a better husband and a better father. So I would kind of like to hear from the source, if you will, from the mother of his children and from his wife, like what some of those issues are from her perspective. Not just so that we can like try to please her with everything that we're doing, but that's valuable insight for me to be able to coach that guy better, having heard sort of like both sides of the story, if you will. So that's another reason that I actually really like to meet with somebody's partner before they take the plunge and sign up for the program. Maybe the last thing I'll share on this topic is I actually really love working with couples. Like Cordy and I are a couple. I know it's just my beautiful face that you see here, but like Cordy is a huge part of this program. We run this together. It exists because we are together. And because of that, we actually really love seeing a couple go through this process together. And sort of like when each person is healing their own shit in parallel, they become a better version of themselves, which now means their relationship will only ever get stronger. And I will use these people's names because Toby has been on our podcast and he and his wife Sherry were mentors with us for a while. When they signed up, we spoke with both of them. And initially, they were just on board for Toby. Like, Sherry was in a 100% supporting role, just being like, hey, whatever my husband needs to get better, I'm all for it. I'm just here for him. And we talked for like an hour, and then me and Cordy finally asked Sherry, we were like, hey, how are you doing? Like, it's not easy to be the wife of a dude with severe PTSD. And we kind of joke about it now, but like, nobody ever asked her how she was doing. And she realized that in the moment of like, oh fuck, how am I doing? And then, oh fuck, I'm not doing amazingly. And then she ended up going down this whole path in parallel with Toby. Like she joined the program at the same time. They both prepared for an ayahuasca retreat together with us and came down to Peru with us together. So that was amazing to see that. That's actually more rare, I would say. What happens more often is like another couple that we worked with where similar thing at first. The wife was just like, I'm here to support him. I'm here to do whatever he needs to do to get better. He joined the program first. This was back when it was just 3 months. So he went through it for 3 months. And then like 2-ish months in, the wife is seeing all these changes. And she's like, well, hang on a second. Like, what's going on here? How is this happening? Like, my partner is actually listening to me more. He's less grumpy. He's not yelling so much. He went from 10 grams of weed a day down to like 3 grams. Like, what's going on here? And then she got real curious about this process, realized maybe she could use some of that for herself. And then she joined our program. And then their daughter joined our program. And the couple at least ended up coming on ayahuasca retreats with us. I love when that happens, and that's more typical, where partner A is just in complete support of partner B. Partner B goes through the program. Partner A is like, hang on a second, maybe I need this also. Maybe they're skeptical to begin with, but then they kind of can't argue with the results that they see on the other side. And that's kind of what we're hoping is going to happen for a few of these folks who just joined the program right now. All of this is to say, the whole reason I even wanted to record this, and I'm fucking rambling at this point, so I'll wrap this up here. I'll land the plane, but I just want to share this because, A, it's literally happening right now. Over the course of the last couple of weeks, I've had like 4 of these conversations. And if you are considering this program, but you're not sure how your partner would take it, just rest assured that I will talk to them as well. Which is better anyway than like me explaining everything to you and then trying to play a game of telephone to explain it all to your wife or your husband. If you don't know how they would respond to this or how they would take it, I would encourage you to just find the link underneath this on YouTube, or find the link somewhere if you're on Apple or Spotify. We've got a 30-minute video that walks through the fundamentals of our approach. So that's a great place to start for somebody who's maybe skeptical about plant medicine or doesn't know too much about it, or if you just want to give them like a heads up on what to expect when I do talk to them. That's probably the best place possible to begin. And then again, just rest assured that like I will meet with both of you guys. I do like to have individual talks because obviously there's some stuff you might not feel comfortable sharing in front of them. And at the end of the day, even when we do work with a couple, we focus on each individual first, because it's all about pouring into your own cup to show up better as a couple. So I'll meet with you individually, and I can meet with both of you guys together to answer all of the questions, just put their mind at ease that no, you're not joining a cult. Unfortunately, I want to have a cult, but you're not joining a cult. It's not a scam. It's not a pyramid scheme. There's a real person here. It's a very legit thing. You can meet other people who've gone through the program. You can talk to them. You can listen to our podcast interviews with them and just see that like this is a real thing that actually exists. I only say that because the last person that I talked to, she was like on board, ready to sign up. And then her husband was just like, hey, can I just meet this guy? Like, can I just make sure that he's not a scammer or something? So we talked for like 30 minutes the other day, and then they fully signed up. So I love doing stuff like that. All right, I'm fully rambling at this point, so I will stop here. Hopefully this was helpful if you are in this position. If you're single or divorced, it's just you, just disregard this entire episode and don't worry about any of that and just talk to me individually. I will leave it there. Thank you so much for listening. Tune in for more. I'm very excited to be kind of revitalizing the podcast here. Thank you very much for listening. God bless you. Take care. See you soon.